Okay, it is 10:15. It's about to start. So thank you very much for coming, everyone. This is Friday at Ignite. I totally understand how a lot of you are probably suffering from information overload at this point. But I'm going to try to make this one really interesting. First of all, it's hard to talk about mixed reality and not be interesting. You really have to try hard because I've been doing a lot of things for the last 25 years of my career. I've done desktop, I've done web, I've done a lot of mobile for 15 years, even IoT and bots and AI. But I gotta say, there is nothing as exciting to me as working with mixed reality. It definitely puts all these other forms of the software development to shame, because this is really exciting stuff. So let me switch actually to my front slide here. There we go. So, wrong machine, Surface machine. There we go. All right. So, yes, this morning we are going to talk about mixed reality. And just curious, who attended Darcy Saltzman's session on So You Want to Do Mixed Reality on Wednesday? Were there some of you? Not that many of you. Okay, so for people on the recording, it's less than 10% of the room. Okay, I am actually going to recap a lot of things he talked about on the explaining what mixed reality is. However, in his session, he talked a lot about the team makeup. What does a mixed reality development team look like? And this is definitely not the same kind of team that you were used to when you look at enterprise development. So in this session, I'm going to try to focus more on the dev story, whereas you can always go back and watch the recording. And it's Darcy Saltzman's session that he did on Wednesday. There were just 4 mixed reality sessions here at the show, so you'll be able to catch them on the recording. So I'm not going to cover why mixed reality is important or what kind of customer scenarios you can build, because Darcy already covered all of these things. I'm going to try to explain more what is mixed reality and how can you get started building for it. So my name is Nick Landry. I'm a technical evangelist at Microsoft in a group called Commercial Software Engineering. So we are a team of engineers and evangelists that basically sit down with customers to write up some code and to help them tackle some of the toughest problems that they can face with new technologies. One of the many areas that I cover is mixed reality for now almost 2 years. And a quick disclaimer also, I am not a member of the HoloLens team or the Windows mixed reality team. I'm in basically CSE is a different org at Microsoft, but I work very closely with these folks. So, and don't even think about asking me questions like next hardware revisions or things like that. I am not here to talk about that. So all my information is right here. I have a lot of demos actually on a lot of different things, including mixed reality on my GitHub. You can find them there. If you're tweeting during this session, taking some pictures or something, please go ahead and make sure you tag me on it. It's also a good way to engage with me afterwards, especially as you get started. Maybe use some of my demos or if you have any questions. So what I want to cover in this is, first of all, explaining what is Windows mixed reality in general, and how does it fit in the Windows world. And then after that, I'm going to try to spend as much time as I can, or as little time as I have, on development for mixed reality, specifically with a tool called Unity. Now, quick caveat here. This is a session that I originally was told design everything 75 minutes. I show up, and they only gave me 45. So you can imagine how I will definitely not be able to go as deep as you might expect. Okay, so just quick things also. I have some demos, by the way. I got my headsets, my HoloLens, my immersive headset. You'll see some live demos. But don't expect to see a ton of deep down code, because I just won't have the time. Now, I'm curious to know, who here has actually tried the HoloLens before? Okay, cool. So I imagine a lot of you tried it here at the show. There were 3 great partner showcases, so that's pretty cool. Excellent. Okay, who has a HoloLens available to them or at work or something? Wow, cool. That's almost 10% of the room, I would say. This is really cool. Excellent. All right, so what is mixed reality? So like Darcy covered in his session, first of all, you have to understand this is not a term that we invented. We did not coin the term mixed reality. It's an academic term that we have adopted, because it describes very well what we're doing. And of course, we've expanded the definition to the modern day, since this is a term that dates back to the 90s. So if we look at the full spectrum of a mixed reality, it's basically the merger, the blend between 2 different realities. On the one side, you have physical reality. So who's familiar with physical reality? You're all supposed to raise your hands because you're living in it, okay? I know it's Friday morning, but you're still in physical reality. Oh, maybe it was a really good party last night. I don't know. So physical reality, I mean, the reason why I bring it up, of course, is because it's the way that we engage with the world, the way that we perceive the world. We see the world, we hear things, we can feel things, we can touch them. Even when we walk, we feel the weight of gravity on some, like me, more so than others, that weighing us down. And it's all part of our experience. There's taste and smell, but let's not really go there today. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got digital reality, or also like the pure virtual reality, where this is a world of zeros and ones. Everything is synthetic, everything is fabricated, everything is artificial. It does not exist for real. And the way that we can perceive this world is by tricking our senses with different devices to override our vision and override our hearing, and override even, some devices can even do haptic, to override touch. Now, if we look at the different technologies that are available today, you've got augmented reality, which is definitely at the far end of the physical reality spectrum. It's about adding maybe a layer of information on top of your world, but it doesn't really understand the world that's around you. Digital reality, full digital reality is VR today. So there's a lot of devices that do VR today. They do it very well, but it's a very, very immersive experience. And you're fully ensconced in that world with very little perception of the real world where you are right now. And when you're experiencing a digital world, you still have to be aware of that physical world that's around you, because there might be people around you, there might be objects around you. So you can't just like roam freely in virtual reality unless you have like some like really advanced like holodeck setup or something. And I'm still working on that. Mixed reality is the blend between the two, and the thing you have to understand is that mixed reality is kind of like two modes, if you will. There's the holographic mixed reality experience, sorry, and there's the immersive mixed reality experience. So today, holographic is offered by the HoloLens. It's the only device that can offer this. A year and a half later, we still stand alone in that market, and it allows us to really blend the world by integrating volumetric holograms, not just flat images, but actual volumetric holograms that are dropped into our world, locked in place, and you can walk around them, you can hear them, you can interact with them. And then with blending with this, we have the immersive mixed reality, where now it's an experience that a lot of people say like it's pretty much like VR, but we're going to look at the differences in a few slides to kind of like explain how this works. And what you need to understand is, for mixed reality, for true Windows mixed reality, you need to have, first of all, a perception of the environment, an awareness of the environment. You are not just going to experience VR in a vacuum. You're going to experience VR inside of a real world, which is why immersive mixed reality is aware of the real world around you. And the great thing is also, is for you as a developer, you're just going to be focusing on building a mixed reality experience. You're not going to be building an AR app or a VR app with different platforms and different frameworks. You're just going to build with one platform, one set of tools, one SDK, and cover the full spectrum, whether it's holographic or immersive. And the key also to mixed reality is that it can be any combination of people, places, and things. And this is something that Darcy covered, but most of you have not seen it. So let's just take a quick look. Let's look at an environment like this. Imagine that we're the user, basically. We're looking at this scene. So the user is not the person there. The user is the person that's looking at this scene. You're in a real place. You're in with real objects in the room. And you have a real person with you in this room. So now the dial is fully on the reality side of things. This is how we experience things every day. Now, bring in the HoloLens and holographic mixed reality, you can start doing things like this and bringing some virtual objects in this world. You still have the real place, you still have real people, but at this time you have now some physical objects, some virtual objects, like a virtual plant, and even like a Skype app that is not just hovering in the air, it's actually resting on the desk. It knows the desk is there. So when you design the experience, you can apply gravity to things, it detects the mesh of things, so it knows where it is. You can have virtual characters like the dog there, and you can even have your apps that are pinned to the wall or hovering or wherever you want them. Now, Darcy went a little deeper into this, so I'm going to go a little faster to focus on the dev story here. Now, let's move the dial more towards the digital world, and now we can actually replace the person or add extra people that are there virtually. So this could be someone that is maybe using another HoloLens somewhere else, or maybe they're using an immersive experience somewhere else to communicate with you, to collaborate with you. So you have this ability now to create an experience where multiple people can be at different places but see each other, perceive each other. And it's not just a cute facility to have someone next to you. It's also a question of if you're collaborating over something physical. You're not collaborating over a document, you're collaborating maybe over designing a new motorcycle, or maybe you're collaborating over like a car, like you probably saw the Ford showcase in Satya's keynote on Monday. So these engineers can basically then look at the car and then they can see what others are looking at, because the gaze of each user can be tracked and can even be rendered for each user. So if you're pointing at something, you don't have to point at it. You can just say, look at this here, and whatever I'm looking at, they're going to know what I'm looking at. Now, let's move the dial all the way to the virtuality side of things. And now we have a combination of virtual people, virtual things, and a virtual place. So this is now an environment where you're in full immersive mode, and this is what people see as VR today. Like pure VR, where you have no perception of the environment around you, but everything is digital around you, and it's a purely immersive experience. Now, with mixed reality, we can do this, of course. So if you want to reach that end of the spectrum, immersive mixed reality can totally do this. But the big difference between immersive mixed reality and simple VR is that we can actually give you an awareness of the environment by giving you warnings, for example. So having a perception of the mesh of the environment, or of the safe space where you can operate in this. And the cool thing with this is that now you can more comfortably use your immersive headset, because now you know that you're not necessarily going to be, fall off the stage, which hopefully I won't do today, or hit a wall, or bump yourself like on a chair or a desk or something like that. By creating your safe space, which is very easy to do, and having this awareness of the environment, you can then have these warnings inside of the application. And the main shell, the main experience for the Cliff House that you'll see, basically can show you these things, although I didn't set it up for this stage here. But each developer can then decide how they will show this. Will they always show the boundaries, or will they only show the boundaries whenever you get too close, depending on the kind of experience you want to offer. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of how mixed reality fits into things, and how it's more than just augmented reality, and it's definitely more than just VR. So when we look at Windows mixed reality headsets, our approach so far has been that for the holographic side of things, it's a premium experience that's offered by the Microsoft HoloLens, which is today pretty much the only option that you have. And you have, on the other side of the spectrum, you have headsets that have been created by multiple manufacturers, and those headsets are immersive. They are tethered to a computer, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. So if we look at, for example, some of the first two that have been announced, there's a few others that have been announced, but the first two in terms of availability are the Acer headset. This is the one that I have right here on stage. There's the Acer headset, starting at $299. So this is not something that's going to break the bank. And the cool thing is you'll be able to use not like a low-end PC, but at least a more average PC than a high-end gaming PC to be able to run those. So that means it's going to be more accessible to more people to be able to do this. The specs are pretty much all here. They are pretty advanced. The quality of the resolution is great. The feel of the usage is also great in terms of latency. It also depends on the machine that you're running it on. And it's definitely a very premium experience at a not premium price. So these are immersive headsets, and the way that they work is they basically are using a tracking technique known as inside-out tracking. And this is another big differentiator between Windows mixed reality today and some of the other virtual reality headsets that are available. There's no need to set up cameras, for example, on your desk. There's no need to attach these little lighthouses and markers like on your wall, which is called outside-in tracking, where those trackers are tracking you in from the outside inwards. With inside-out tracking, it's plug and play, and you can actually carry it with you wherever you want. That's the cool thing, is with this, I can basically just put this in a bag, I plug it into my laptop, and there's no other camera required here. You'll notice around me, there's no other setup required. You just put it on, plug and play, and it will actually use various sensors like IMU plus like the camera that's on it to be able to combine everything into a sensor fusion that will understand the environment around you and be able to track you in real time without the need for external trackers. And that right away means that it's going to be a lot simpler for the average consumer to set this up because they're not going to have to set up those trackers. And that means that for you as a developer, it's going to be a much bigger opportunity because you're going to see more and more people find this like appealing in terms of accessibility, in terms of price and setup. And the more people have it, of course, the bigger the opportunity is for developers. So right now we have 5 main headsets that are offered via Acer, HP, Lenovo, Dell, and Asus. Starting October 17th will be available and shipping. So you can look at different press releases from different manufacturers. I can't speak for them, but the first ones will be available on October 17th when we do our launch. And that's when everything will begin into a new world of mixed reality beyond holographic, but including holographic. And the idea is that whenever you work with this, you're not just going to be running the classic Windows shell, of course. This is a Windows device, especially since those devices are connected to a Windows desktop or laptop. But you have this Windows mixed reality home that we call the Cliff House. And the Cliff House is this environment where you can set up your apps, where you can basically walk around, where you can decorate it, you can augment it with holograms, you can augment it with different applications. And so I'm showing these pictures here, and I'm thinking, would you prefer seeing it live instead of looking at pictures? Yeah? Would you like to see it live? Yeah? All right, cool. Let's look at this live. So what I'm going to do is switch to my PC here. Launch the mixed reality portal. Now, I'm going to ask, especially those of you in the front row, if I'm about to fall off, you have to tell me and warn me, okay? I'm going to try not to go very far with this. Also, I have to ask, are there people in a room that are subject to seizures because of fast-moving images? Because unfortunately, when you strap a camera to your forehead and go in VR mode on screen, it can shake a little bit. I'll try to not move too fast, but if you are subject to such seizures, I would please ask that you look away. I mean, you know your limits, so look away once in a while or for the whole demo, unfortunately. So let me go in. Let me grab my headset. All right, so I am here inside of the Cliff House, and I'm going to try not to do this too often, but the cool thing also is this not these complicated straps you have around you. It's more like you can actually just flip it open like this, and then you can see the world, and now you can see the sky above me, and I can just go back in. People always ask, hey, can you wear glasses with this? As you can see, I obviously am, so it works fine. Now, we're going to have these controllers. I'll talk about that a little after, but I am inside of the Cliff House right now, and I can, whoop. Oh, by the way, also the other thing to explain is that I am in beta mode here, so that means so you see that my controller is not working right now. So I just tested it before. Okay, let me restart it, and hopefully I'll be able to Windows. Oh, because it's in mouse mode, I think. Is it going to work now? No. Okay, let me restart it. So shut this down. Okay, I'll keep my controller handy over here. All right. And it should launch the experience on my PC automatically. Let me make sure it's full screen for you guys. Yeah, this is where I really wanted this full screen. Windows Y. Please tell me the controller is going to work now. No, of course not. Great. Yeah, this is in order to run this with the latest experience right now, you have to basically use the Windows Insider Fast-Ring update. So very soon, this is all going to be shipping as part of the Windows Fall Creators Update. So unfortunately, right now, I can't move around with my controller. I can move around sideways like this, and you can see the experience, but I'm supposed to be able to teleport with this. So let me try one last time to reset this, because of course I tested it before and everything was fine. Is my gamepad is there. So my boundary is off right now, but I noticed that it did not ask me for initialization at the beginning, so I'm going to shut it down and make sure that it's completely turned off here, just in case there's still a process that's running. Mixed reality portal. You know what? Let me turn that off completely to make sure it... Oh, actually, the other thing I can do is disconnect it completely, and hopefully when I reconnect it, there you go. Let's go full screen. Yeah, every time it resumes, that's usually when I have the issue. No. Okay, all right. So this demo is going to be a little shorter because I wanted to walk around the house to show you a little bit around it. Like down there in front of me, there's like this kind of like home theater where you can like watch the TV and movies app. But unfortunately, this is not cooperating with me right now. So I don't know if let me try to reset the controller completely, and hopefully we can... I'm really insistent. I want to try to make this work. I know there's one fix that always worked. It's reboot the machine, but not going to do that right now. So, no controller. All right, so let's carry on. At least you got to see what the house looks like. And the clock is ticking, so that's why I don't want to spend too much time on this either. So let's go back to the slides. That's 5 right here. So that's kind of, you basically saw like the background. You can walk around. You can't step out of the house. It's kind of like an environment where you stay in there, but you can look at the vista in the background. You can look at different apps that you place, and you choose which apps you place where, and it remembers the next time. And so that's you can truly do multitasking in there. Now, so that's for the immersive side of things. Now, a lot of you have already tried a HoloLens. Unfortunately, the expo is closed now, so I would have encouraged you to go try it if you didn't. The HoloLens it's a truly amazing device. First of all, you have to remember, this is not a toy, okay? The HoloLens is a premium computer. It is the world's first fully untethered, self-contained, head-mounted holographic computer. And not only is it the first, but as I said, a year and a half later, it's still the only one that's available. It allows you to really interact with holograms that you place in the world around you, so you can enhance this world. The beauty of the HoloLens, of course, is that you can actually interact with other people around you. You can still hear the world around you. You can still see things, but you can also add these holograms around you as well. It's a great way to connect with people. It's a great way to interact with them, whether they're in the same location with you or in a different location. And it's a great collaboration tool as well, like you saw in a short video. Now, the other thing to remember also is that this device represents like the best of Microsoft. This is a device that basically embodies like decades and literally like thousands and thousands of man-years, if you will, like of work and research and development across all the people that have worked on this, so that it could combine things like advanced machine learning in spatial mapping and processing all in a mobile device. Because remember that the HoloLens is fully self-contained. You are not tethered to anything. So that's why it comes at a more premium price, because what you're buying is a full computer, not just an accessory. The cool thing with those headsets, though, is they are an accessory and therefore much more affordable. So now, in terms of building for Windows Mixed Reality, that's the first thing you have to remember. When you're building, you're not building for the immersive headsets. You're not building for the HoloLens. You are building for Windows Mixed Reality, because it's one platform, one SDK, that allows you to cover both. So first of all, Windows Mixed Reality, all the bits are basically baked inside of the operating system as well. Starting with the Creators Update, we started putting those bits directly inside of Windows. And then it was more for developers, and now this fall with the Fall Creators Update, we'll actually make them more available broadly to all consumers who will be able to go buy different headsets from our different partners. What you are building is a UWP app, a Universal Windows Platform app. So this is all part of the grand strategy of having one application model that can span a wide range of devices, from phones to tablets to IoT to Surface Hub, Xbox, laptop, desktop, and as well holographic. So when you're building with these, the cool thing is that when you're building for Windows Mixed Reality, you don't really have to learn a new type of environment or a new type of language. Like, sure, of course, the 3D stuff is closer to game development than it is to enterprise development. But under the hood, it's a UWP app that you'll be compiling in Visual Studio. You can build it in C#, and it's with the same tools that you're used to today. So in terms of, I think the clicker doesn't reach here. All right. In terms of interacting with your different holograms, and the holograms, remember, they can be holograms that you place in the real world with the HoloLens, or they can be holograms that exist inside of a virtual space, like just another virtual object in immersive mode. The first thing you're going to use is gaze. This is kind of like your mouse cursor. So this is where you move your head around, and whatever you look at, there's going to be a cursor, and it tells you, like, this is the object I'm interacting with. Then there's the different gestures that are available to you. The gestures will actually give you, this is more for the HoloLens side of things, because this is where we can track hands, like the bloom gesture, the tap gesture. And then Darcy covered some of the gesture design there and some of the thinking that went into this. So you can go watch a session. But it's going to be the equivalent of your tap or your click, if you will. Now, with immersive, we cannot do gesture detection, so we actually use different controllers. I have an Xbox controller here that should work for the next demo. It's just in the Cliff House that, for some reason, when you start it once, it does that afterwards. And then we also have other controllers that I'll show on the next screen. Voice is going to become a much more important component in mixed reality, because you're not going to be using a mouse and a keyboard. I mean, you could, but it kind of defeats the purpose. The idea here is that you want to work hands-free, or you're going to use these controllers so that you don't want to have to type long things. So you're going to be using your voice for a lot of things. So as developers, it's actually very easy to start enabling different keywords and voice commands inside of your apps. We have like SDKs for this. We have prefabs. In literally 1 minute, you can add voice commands to a mixed reality app. And then from there, you can start adding more. Spatial mapping is something that has different behaviors on holographic versus immersive. With the HoloLens, it really scans everything. It has a full perception of the room. You can even get the mesh as a developer of the room around you so that you can interact with it. And whereas with the immersive headsets, it's more of an idea of boundaries of what you get around you. So the cameras and the IMU and the sensors are all used mostly for positional tracking and for also tracking you in the environment so that you're not going to be going beyond those boundaries, but you don't necessarily get like the full mesh of the environment of the room around you when you're in immersive mode. Spatial sound is also going to be an important part of game design, but also mixed reality 3D experience design, because you can only see in mixed reality, typically, I mean, even with immersive, you have a pretty big field of view, but what if something is behind you, you need to be able to hear it. So with spatial sound, it's the same thing with the HoloLens, and especially true on the HoloLens, because now you're going to be in a world where you're blending sounds from the real world with sounds from the virtual world. Because your ears are not cupped completely with a HoloLens. You're not going to wear headphones. You can, but it's actually better to use the built-in speakers that sit above your ears. And those will basically allow you to get full spatial sound, so that sounds can be in front of you, behind you, left, right, full 360 around you in a sphere. You can even hear a sound below you or a sound above you. You don't need a full array of speakers to do this. You just need 2 speakers, because you only have 2 ears after all, and really good sound engineers. So we took care of the spatial sound. You just have to create mono sounds, attach them to objects, and we take care of the rest. And then the world coordinate system is important because, and has anybody here ever done any kind of like game development or development in 3D or Unity or things like that? So a few of you, okay. So in those worlds, whenever you create a unit system, the unit system is basically just about, hey, I have a unit of 10 or a unit of 100, but you don't really know what the measurement is. You don't really care either, because as long as things are to scale with each other, you define what the world size is, and then you just have to make sure that all the objects that you bring in are in the same scale. However, when you do mixed reality, you're now scaled with real-world motion of the user, the height of the user, and the motion through a space, especially with a HoloLens, where the user can completely roam free. And on top of that, they can drop holograms inside of the real world. So that's why the world coordinate system in mixed reality is always where 1 equals 1 meter. So I know we get a lot of international audiences here at Ignite, so that's great. You guys know what a meter is. For the Americans in the room, I'm sorry, I'm Canadian, so I grew up with this. A meter is about this big, okay? It's about 3.3 feet or so. It comes from the metric system. Metric system. It's used on the whole planet, folks, except Myanmar and here. Even North Korea uses metric. So anyways, the other part is that you have, in immersive, you're going to be using these controllers. So we have these beautiful controllers that will be, you'll be able to buy them separately. There'll be some bundles as well where you'll be able to buy the headset with the controllers. And those controllers, you have one in each hand, and it basically allows you to do gestures in a virtual world in 3D. And the beauty of those controllers is that you don't have to buy a matching set with your headset. The Microsoft controllers will work with any of the Windows mixed reality headsets, regardless of the manufacturer that made them. Unfortunately, I don't have them here to demo. All I have is an Xbox controller with an attitude. So, as a developer, what we give you at the SDK level is basically, and I'm going to try to accelerate so I can show you my final demo. As a developer, you get from the SDK a lot of different things. You get things like the gaze input, the gesture input, the voice input, the different spatial anchors. Spatial anchors are important because when you have like multiple people using HoloLenses in the same space, you need to be able to share spatial maps. So one of them is going to be kind of like the lead, deciding where the spatial anchor is in the room, and then you're going to share your spatial anchor with the other users that will then download them. And then I will allow them to orient their space to be in sync with the other user. So this way, if I'm standing here and you're standing there, and I place an object right here on the stage, then we're both going to have the same perception of the object being in the same place in the room. But only one of us had to drop the object in there. So anchors help you with this with the World Anchor Manager. We also have spatial mapping where we give you the mesh, so you don't have to worry at all about how do we spatially map the room. We basically just give you a mesh and say, here it is. Use it for whatever purpose. You can use it to obfuscate things, you can use it to do collision detection, you can use it for gravity so you can put objects on them, and this way they don't fall through tables. You can detect the walls. You can even use spatial understanding so that you can actually query the spatial map and say, find me, first of all, tell me how many walls were detected by the user. So, for example, there's 3 walls in the range of the user right now. Or tell me where the floor is. And then, or find me, this one is pretty cool. You could say, find me a space on the mesh where a human can sit. And then you could decide to have a virtual human sitting there. The game Fragments actually uses that beautifully on the HoloLens. Now, that said, this is all at the SDK level. What you have to create as a developer, as a mixed reality development team, are going to be a combination of models with materials and textures and different shaders and different sounds you're going to be attaching, all in this beautiful creative design. And of course, the part that most developers are comfortable it's the scripts. Like the script typically going to be in C++ or in C#. You write this. So going from the top to the bottom, though, can be a little bit of a far departure for a lot of people. So thankfully, we actually not only have like a lot of samples, but we also have this great toolkit called the Mixed Reality Toolkit. It's an open source toolkit. It's on GitHub. There's a Mixed Reality Toolkit for C++ and DirectX developers, which is kind of like the baseline that you can use to build for mixed reality. Or if, like me, you don't want to do C++ and you love C#, you can actually use the Unity game engine. And the Unity game engine is probably the world's most popular game engine and one of the most powerful to create like AAA titles. And the Unity game engine on top of that is free as long as your studio makes less than $100,000 with games. Then you can actually use the mixed reality toolkit for Unity, and then we'll give you all these assets pre-made for you. So we'll give you a nice spatial mapping prefab where you just drop this prefab on your scene, and automatically it starts tracking your scene, and you can attach a collider to your mesh, and there you go. We give you cursors. We give you ability to easily share between users as well. So in the little time that I have left, what I'm going to do is, before I jump in the actual code, because I knew I only had 45 minutes, what I did is I do have a HoloLens that is required for the networking, but I'm not going to be able to show you the HoloLens on screen. So what I have instead is a few pre-recorded videos of the HoloLens experience for this demo. And then I will show you the live portion on the immersive headset. So in this demo, this is basically from our Microsoft Mixed Reality Academy tutorial. We have a whole set of tutorials, and I'll show you where they are after this. And all these tutorials are there to acclimate you to the world of mixed reality, how to do gaze, how to do gesture, voice, spatial mapping, spatial sound, and there's one on how to create a shared mixed reality. How can you have an experience where immersive users will be able to share their experience with mixed reality users? In this case, what we have is this island. We have this kind of like little virtual island that the HoloLens user can actually see, and they can place it, it appears in the room in front of them. It's got waves on it, it makes sound and everything, and you can actually walk around it. And it's a beautiful little island. So kind of like the HoloLens user is kind of like the God view over the island, if you will, where they can see things from above. The HoloLens user also has the ability to take the island and to also like move it in the place. So it would actually use tap to play, so you do a tap gesture to pick it up and then drag it and then drop it. The tap to place also detects exactly where the table is, so the island is actually going to rest on the table and not just like hover in the air. You can place it wherever you want. So as you go through this tutorial, you actually have the ability to go and add these different functionality to the demo. And when you run this in immersive mode, so the cool thing with this tutorial is you can actually run this. Let's say you don't have a HoloLens, but you get the headset in a couple of weeks. Then you can actually do this whole tutorial, and you'll be able to do the same thing in immersive mode. So in immersive mode, the difference is the island is on this virtual table, if you will, and then you can choose and move it wherever you want. So you can basically use a controller to move the island whatever you want. Now, whenever you have multiple users, so this is a shared experience, so every user is going to have this little cloud above their heads, so that whenever their heads are moving, other users are going to see them with a cloud above their heads. The cloud is there because for the immersive experience, they're going to see a cloud in the sky. Because the next step is that at the end of the demo, and that's the experience I'm going to show you on immersive, at the end of the demo, you have a user that can basically, the HoloLens user can look at the island, and the little character that you see there is actually the avatar of an immersive user that is actually on the island. So that's the view that I'm going to show you, the view from this avatar that's on the island, right there. And in the sky, you will see the user there. So let me just quickly set it up from my end here. So the first thing I have to do, and while I do this, I might as well just leave this view on. Is it playing? No? Okay, it should play now. Okay, let me start this. I only have like 6 minutes left, so yeah. 45-minute tech talks are challenging, especially when the Xbox controller doesn't behave. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do here on the HoloLens, you're not going to see this, but I'm basically just launching the experience so that it looks like the island that you see here. But the extra piece that I'm doing is I'm creating the session. So the server, if you will, that's establishing the network session, it's using UNet, which is a networking stack that's part of the Unity game engine. It actually is based on UDP. So I'm starting a new session, and then once the session is started, so what I'm going to do is I see the island in front of me. I'm just going to drop it in front of me here. And the reason why I'm putting it here is because when I put the HoloLens on the chair here, it's going to appear to the immersive user like there's a cloud in the sky, and I'll be able to move it, and you should be able to see it. It was all working before I came here, so in the half hour before, so hopefully things will work better this time. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in this here, and I'm going to launch the mixed reality portal, full screen mode. Oh, launching the app is going to be a challenge without the controller. Oh, now it's... Okay, it looks like it's reinitialized, so maybe it will work now? No, the controller is still not... Oh, come on, don't do this to me. Can I can hopefully go in control by... This is depressing. This is a bug that I've detected before, is once you run the experience once after, and if you relaunch it, suddenly the controller, it's like it's still initialized. And, okay, so what I'm going to try to do, since I have 4 minutes left, is instead of rebooting, what I'm going to do is just sign out and see if at least it's going to reset things for me. 3 minutes left. Well, almost 4. So, all right. Let's try this again. Enter the pin. Okay, and now the controller. Let me make sure the controller is still being recognized in my settings here. So if I go to settings, no, I don't need Steam, thank you. Okay. My Xbox wireless controller is connected. No, that's Discord. That's trying to log in by default. Yeah, it's all these different things that try to start. Yes, get out of there, get out of there. I don't need Microsoft Teams either right now. And Discord, I can quit that as well. Okay, now, if I go back in the mixed reality portal, hopefully this time it will cooperate. And hopefully you can bear with me for a few minutes if the controller decides to work. So let's look side to side, bottom. Yes! And can I move? Yes, I can move. All right. I guess I should have done that before. Whew. Saved it at the end. So I can use the controller to I can move my head side by side to look around, as you can see. And I can also teleport myself. So I can use this joystick on the controller, and I can teleport myself. And every time I come here, see, like, hopefully you're not afraid of heights. And hopefully I don't fall off the stage. So, whoa. This is cool. And everybody tells me, like, jump, but you can't jump. So you see it's red. So people want to see me fall off a cliff, apparently. So this is where you have, so you can run immersive apps that you can launch, or you can actually come here and launch the movie app. So if I go select this, and I play, for example, this trailer, this is the Forza trailer, right here. And for some reason I don't have any sounds on the trailer. But the cool thing is that you're still part of an immersive experience. You can also move like this. So see how, oh, there is sound, okay. So it's just an app that sits on your wall, so now it becomes like a real room when you can interact. Anyway, I'm going to stop this now. What I want to do is show you the demo. So to load an application, it can either be pre-pinned to your wall, or if you want to load your applications, for those of you that have used the HoloLens before, this is just like the menu that you have on a HoloLens that you bring up with a bloom gesture. And now what I can do is I can just go to all apps, and I can go load my mixed reality island. Where is it? There we go. And when you launch, so I can say, okay, let's place it, whoa, too close. Let's place it on the wall here. And when you launch an actual immersive app, then it takes over the entire environment around you with this cool effect. Trust me, when you're in it, it's really cool. Now, I can say here, oh, please tell me the HoloLens session didn't time out. Oh, great. I can't win today. Yeah, it probably timed out here. Yep. Because it's a mobile device, so what does it do? You know, it times out. And it took me so long to debug this that now, let me just restart the experience. And I know I have 17 seconds left, but hopefully you'll bear with me because you really want to see the end, right? Okay, where's the island? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So is my session detected here? Yeah, this is okay, let me relaunch it, close it, and then relaunch the experience here, and then mixed reality island. There we go. Almost there. We'll get it done, folks. We'll get it done. These are not easy demos to do, first of all, solo, and second of all, in 45 minutes. Okay, let me take my island, put it on the ground here, so that I can be kind of like God looking over the island. Now, did it detect the session here? Yep, it detected my session. I got started. Apologies for all the motion. So now what I'm going to do is go back to the app. Please work, please work. Yes, here's my session. I'll say join this session. So now I'm on the island, right there. I'm on the island. And now what I can do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to pick up the HoloLens right here. Because if I look back, see up there, the little cloud? See, if I move the HoloLens, this is my God user looking around. So, hello. And what the goal of the experience is, this is like a puzzle, so you can basically move around. So this one you use the Y button. It doesn't teleport, it basically kind of teleports you instead of jumping ahead. It's less jarring for some people. You have to decide whatever is best for your users. Do they want to see the move forward, or do they just want to appear there? And then as you approach a puzzle, the HoloLens users see a tooltip in the sky that tells them the answer, and then they can tell you, like, the tip is I love pi, so you have to say 3.14. And then the door opens here. And then you're supposed to move forward to this place right here, and there's this nice rocket, and then it moves you to the other puzzle on the island. I'm going to go fast here because I'm running out of time. And the other one says, like, you need to light the way or something like that, so we just tap on the two torches, turn it on, and then the cart moves out of the way, and there you go. And I can go on the second pad. We're done. And now we go to the other spot on the island where now I move ahead and I see these crate. And, oh, if I remember correctly, it's red, green, blue. So red, green, blue. There you go. So the HoloLens users see these tips, and then you come at the end, and now you're done, and you succeeded, and now you can look up, and you see the rocket flying off in the sky. And the HoloLens users actually see the rocket go up as well. So this is just a little experience to show you how you can create a nice application or experience where both holographic users and immersive users can collaborate as part of the same space or of a virtual space. So to wrap this up, because I'm already out of time, because I know that I didn't get to really show you code really for this, especially since I had to reinitialize everything here, but at least I'll tell you where to get started with this. So first of all, if you want to try all this, the easy way is going to be with the immersive headsets. Those are very affordable. If you want to try the HoloLens but don't have one and you're not ready to buy one, although you should, you can actually try the HoloLens emulator. It's free, and these are the specs for the PC that you need to run it. You just need to have a hypervisor machine that can run Hyper-V, and you'll be fine. There's a lot of tutorials that are available. So the Mixed Reality Toolkit is right there on GitHub. There's also a lot of different open source projects that are available to you. I don't think the slides have been posted yet, but I'll make sure they're available. And on my SlideShare anyway, slideshare.net/ActiveNick, I have a slightly different version of this deck with all of the references. So if you don't remember the link, just watch the recording later. So the main resource page is ak.ms/mr to get started. And this is where you have all the documentation and all of these tutorials, including the last one, sharing mixed reality, which is the one that I showed today. We have the full Galaxy Explorer, which is this kind of like Star Trek-like view of the galaxy, holographically in front of you. It's a full open source project you can download to explore to see how our team built it. The Mixed Reality Toolkit I've already mentioned, the Academy tutorials, and on this page with insanely small font links, you'll be able to get the deck later. Then you can see all of the different resources that are available, where you can find communities in your area, different meetups that talk about mixed reality, and different demos that are available. In terms of devices, starting October 17th, the first headsets will go on sale. As I said, it starts with the Acer at $299. HP, I think, is $329. There's going to be bundles with the controllers as well that will be available at a different price point. And then the HoloLens is available today. I don't know if the company store is still available on the Expo, but we were selling the HoloLens right here. So if you wanted to buy one, that was your chance. Otherwise, just go to microsoftstore.com or hololens.com. Credit card, $3,000. A few days later, you get one. There's no wait. And these are more demos. So the mixed reality demo I showed today is right here. I have a lot of demos on my GitHub, including a really cool shooter in the desert that I'm still working on. You can try there. And there are other sessions that covered mixed reality here at Ignite. And if you have an Envision badge, you can also get the recording for those. So if you miss them, go back and watch the recording, because they will give you more insights into this world of why should you do this and why should you care and how to get and what other partners are building with this. We also have a great YouTube channel for the HoloLens team where you can see all of the cool projects that have been done. So please, 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 I know it's easy to just take off and go grab your flight and forget the eval, but let's all remember it did work in the end, okay? So let's, and please, I know 45 minutes is too short, but that was not my responsibility, okay? So don't diss my set. You can put it in the comments, but don't diss my score because it was too short. I did not make that call, all right? So please fill out an evaluation. If you want to see more mixed reality at Ignite, tell them. I want to see more. I'm sure you do, so we can go more in depth. So again, I'm Nick Landry. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the show and a great trip home, and I'll be available for questions after this. Thank you very much.